Most people think escaping the grind is about working harder. They think it's about waking up earlier, grinding longer, sacrificing more. That explanation feels good because if success is about effort, then failure isn't personal. But it's a lie because millions of people work brutally hard for their entire lives and never escape anything. They just get older inside the same system. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. The grind isn't escaped by effort. It's escaped by structure. And most people never change their structure. They just apply more pain to the same broken system. Let me explain. The average person's life follows a simple loop. They sell time, they get paid, they pay bills, they survive, they repeat. They might upgrade the job, they might upgrade the title, they might upgrade the paycheck. But the structure never changes. Time in, money out, bills paid, reset. Inside that loop, effort has diminishing returns. Every extra hour produces less freedom, not more. This is why burnout is everywhere. Not because people are lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because the system they're operating inside does not reward intensity. It punishes it. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Some people escape the grind early, some late, some never. And it's not random. There is a pattern. The people who escape all do one thing differently. They stop optimizing inside the system and start building outside of it. That's it. Most people spend their entire lives asking, how can I be better at this? A better employee, a better worker, a better grinder, a better rule follower. Escapers ask a different question. Why does this system exist at all? And more importantly, who does it serve? Once you ask that question, you can't unsee the answer. The grind exists because predictable humans are profitable humans. Predictable schedules, predictable spending, predictable fears, predictable dreams. School trained you to obey time blocks. Jobs trained you to trade hours. Debt trained you to stay afraid. Entertainment trained you to stay distracted. This isn't a conspiracy, it's an incentive structure. And incentives shape behavior far more than motivation ever will. Here's the brutal realization. The grind is not broken. It's working exactly as designed. It produces compliance, it produces consumption, it produces dependency. So when someone escapes, they didn't outwork the system, they stepped outside of it. Let's talk about how that actually happens. There are 3 phases every escaper goes through. Most people never even complete the first one. Phase 1 is seeing the trap. This is the awakening phase. The moment something feels off, you're doing everything right, but the math doesn't add up. You're exhausted, you're productive, but you're stuck. At this stage, most people do one of 2 things. They either double down on effort or they numb themselves. More hours, more overtime, more caffeine, more scrolling, more coping. Escapers do something else. They stop asking how to succeed faster and start asking what they are actually building. If the answer is someone else's dream, the alarm goes off. This phase is uncomfortable because once you see the trap, you're still inside it. You haven't escaped yet. You've just lost the illusion. Most people retreat here. They tell themselves it's not that bad. At least it's stable. I should be grateful. Those are fear sentences. Escapers accept instability in exchange for optionality. Phase 2 is building leverage. This is where most people fail permanently because leverage requires patience without immediate validation. Leverage is anything that separates income from direct time input. Skills, systems, media, code, capital, audience. The grind hates leverage because leverage creates asymmetry. One input, multiple outputs. The grind wants linear effort, hours in, dollars out. Escapers build leverage quietly while everyone else is busy surviving. This is where side projects live. Faceless channels, digital products, automation, skill stacking. Not flashy, not glamorous, often unpaid at first. Here's the key difference. Grinders spend free time recovering. Escapers spend free time constructing. Not hustling, constructing. Construction compounds. Hustle burns out. This phase is lonely, no applause, no certainty, no guarantees. That's why most people quit. Phase 3 is identity separation. This is the real escape, and almost no one talks about it. Most people identify as their job, their title, their role. Escapers detach identity from income. They don't say, I am what I do. They say, I operate systems. Once that shift happens, fear loses power. Because losing a job no longer means losing yourself. At this point, the grind collapses, not externally, internally. You stop asking permission. You stop waiting for validation. You stop tying self-worth to output. That's when momentum accelerates. Now, let me be very clear. Escaping the grind is not instant freedom. It is delayed freedom in exchange for short-term discomfort. Most people choose short-term comfort for permanent constraint. Escapers choose short-term constraint for permanent flexibility. Same pain, different direction. Now here's the part no one likes hearing. Most people don't actually want to escape. They want relief, they want rest, they want reassurance. Escape requires responsibility, no boss to blame, no system to hide behind, no external structure to lean on. Freedom is heavier than people realize. That's why so many people self-sabotage right before breakthrough. The grind is familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar possibility. This is also why most people never build leverage properly. They don't lack effort. They lack systems. They don't need motivation. They need structure. That's exactly why tools matter. Not because tools create success, but because the right tools remove friction. If you're building anything digital, content, systems, or leverage, your voice matters, and wasting hours re-recording, editing, or fighting bad audio kills momentum. That's why I use 11 Labs. It lets you turn structured thinking into clean, calm narration without friction. If you want to test it, the link is in the description. Same thing with automation. If you're turning long-form ideas into short clips, systems like Opus make distribution easier. Not because they do the work for you, but because they remove bottlenecks. Those links are below if you want them. And if you want the deeper framework and the actual system behind everything I'm explaining here, I'm putting it into a playbook. Not motivation, not hype. A simple logical breakdown of how leverage is built, how systems replace effort, and how identity separates from income over time. No fluff, no fake promises, just structure. That playbook is coming soon. If you want it when it drops, make sure you're subscribed, because escape in the grind doesn't happen when you quit your job. It happens when your income stops requiring your presence. It happens when your effort compounds without you. It happens when your identity is no longer for sale. That's the real reason some people escape. Not because they worked harder, but because they stopped playing a game designed to keep them small.